Welcome back to Superbly Said Advanced English Vocabulary and Phrases.
It is so great to be here.
Yeah, and today's material is drawn from a really fantastic SpeakDuo lesson. It's SpeakDuo 1656, called Kendall Jenner, Idioms for Resilience and Success.
A really interesting context for some very high-level vocabulary.
Absolutely. And real quick, before we get into it, you should definitely go to SpeakDuo.com if you want to meet new people from around the world who are practicing English on video calls and, to become more confident with your speaking abilities. It's just the best place for it.
It really is. And just to set the stage for you listening, today's discussion is exclusively for advanced English learners. We are skipping the basics.
Right. We're going straight into the deep end today.
Exactly. Mastering these specific phrases is going to instantly elevate your workplace conversations and really boost your IELTS speaking responses.
So let's jump right in. I want to start with how we talk about professional pressure, like when things go wrong at work.
Yeah, resilience is a huge theme for advanced fluency.
Right. So the first phrase is brush it off. And I always thought, that brushing it off just meant ignoring a problem. Like if a boss sends a mean email, you just delete it and ignore it.
Well, actually, that's a super common misconception. But the nuance is totally different.
Oh, really? How so?
Yeah, because ignoring something is, it's passive, right? You're just pretending it isn't there. But to brush it off is an active, conscious decision to casually dismiss the criticism without letting it affect you.
Oh, I get it. So you acknowledge it happened, but you just mentally flick it away.
Exactly. You feel the hit, but you actively choose to brush it away.
Okay, that makes sense. So like in a conversation with a boss, you wouldn't say you ignored something. You'd say, after the difficult meeting, I decided to brush it off and focus on the next task.
Perfect example. But sometimes a problem is too big to just flick away like that.
Right, some things you can't just brush off.
Exactly. Which brings us to our second phrase, which is take it in stride. This means handling difficulties calmly without getting upset.
Wait, that sounds really similar to brush it off. What's the difference?
Think of it like this: brushing off is dismissing a negative completely. You're getting rid of it. Taking it in stride is actively absorbing a sudden change and gracefully adapting your forward momentum.
Ah, okay. So there's like a flight delay. You can't just dismiss a flight delay.
Right. You have to absorb that reality. So if you get an IELTS Part 2 prompt about adapting to a change, you could say, when plans suddenly change, I stay flexible and take it in stride by making a new plan quickly.
That is a great phrase for an interview. But what if you don't want to adapt? Like, what if you need to stubbornly refuse a change?
Then you would dig your heels in. That means stubbornly refusing to change your position.
Okay, I like that one. But how is that different from, standing your ground?
It's all about the flavor of the phrase. Standing your ground sounds noble, right? It's defensive and principled.
Yeah, it sounds like you're a hero in a movie.
Exactly. But digging your heels in implies stubbornness. It's active resistance. You are flat out refusing to negotiate.
Okay, so if I'm at work, I might say, my team wanted to speed up the project timeline, but I dug my heels in because we needed more testing.
Spot on. You are being the immovable object there.
So just to lock this in for you guys listening, brush it off is wiping dirt off your jacket. Take it in stride is keeping your walking pace normal, even though the path is muddy.
I love that analogy.
Thanks. And dig your heels in is stopping the walk entirely to plant your feet in the mud.
That perfectly captures the feeling of all three phrases.
So let's shift a bit. What about social dynamics, like handling office politics? The next phrase is fly under the radar, which means successfully going unnoticed to avoid attention.
Yeah, and you really have to differentiate this from hiding.
Right, because hiding is just not being there.
Exactly. Hiding is physical absence.
Mm.
Flying under the radar means you are present and you are functioning. Maybe you're quietly helping out at a busy event, but you are deliberately keeping a low profile.
Okay, so for an IELTS speaking test, if I'm describing an event, I could say, at a crowded conference, I try to fly under the radar by arriving early and staying low-key.
That sounds incredibly natural. But what if you do get into a conflict and you need to fix it?
Then you offer an olive branch. It's a gesture of peace offered to resolve a dispute.
Which is very different from an apology.
Wait, really? If I offer an olive branch, aren't I apologizing?
Not necessarily. An apology is admitting fault. Offering an olive branch is a neutral, forward-looking gesture.
Oh, like inviting someone to coffee after a big argument?
Exactly. It's saying, let's move past this regardless of who was right or wrong.
That is such a good tool for office politics. So I could say to a colleague, After our argument, I offered an olive branch to my coworker so we could talk openly.
Yes. And once you resolve those issues and do great work, you might get a pat on the back. That means recognition or praise for a job well done.
Which is different from a reward, right? Because a reward is like a physical bonus check.
Right. A pat on the back is verbal or emotional validation from a manager.
Like saying, my manager gave me a pat on the back after I completed a difficult client presentation.
Exactly. It's that social recognition.
But wait, I have to ask. If you always fly under the radar to avoid drama, aren't you risking never getting that pat on the back?
That is the ultimate balancing act for advanced speakers. It's all about context. You might fly under the radar during a messy planning phase, but then strategically step up at the end to get that pat on the back.
That makes total sense.
Nah.
Okay, let's talk about success that you don't plan. Our next phrase is, by complete fluke.
Meaning it happened entirely by accident or pure luck.
Right. How does that contrast with a coincidence?
Well, a coincidence is two related things happening at once, but a fluke is blind, random luck.
Like finding 20 bucks on the street.
Exactly. Or for IELTS, I discovered a great cafe by complete fluke while I was looking for a totally different street.
I love that. And when that fluke happens, you have to run with it, meaning you take an idea and aggressively develop it.
And notice how that's different from just accepting an idea.
Because accepting is passive, right? Like, sure, I'll do it.
Yes, accepting is passive. Running with it is taking ownership and accelerating the concept.
So talking to a boss, I suggested a new meeting format and my colleagues ran with it.
That shows amazing momentum, and when that happens, you're going to feel over the moon, extremely happy, thrilled.
Okay, but I could just say, pleased. Why over the moon?
It's the intensity. You are pleased with a decent lunch. You are over the moon when a project gets massive recognition.
Got it. I was over the moon when I received an unexpected compliment.
That's a great IELTS sentence.
It really is.
Okay, next phrase. Happy-go-lucky. Naturally carefree and not worried about problems.
And we should contrast this with being optimistic.
Oh, because optimism is more of a calculated belief, right? Like looking at data and feeling optimistic.
Exactly. Happy-go-lucky is a personality trait. It's living in the moment without strict plans. You'd say, on my summer trip, I was happy-go-lucky and met new friends along the way. But question for you, can a happy-go-lucky person ever be the same person who aggressively runs with a project? They sound like total opposites.
That is a great question, and yes, they absolutely can. Context changes behavior. You might run with a project all week, but be totally happy-go-lucky on the weekend.
That's a really good point. It's all about adaptability. Speaking of which, let's talk about communicating with different groups. The next phrase is sound bites.
Short, catchy quotes designed for maximum impact.
And this is different from a summary, right?
Oh, vastly different. A summary is comprehensive and informative. A soundbite is strategic and quick.
Like for the media. Before the interview, she prepared a few sound bites to summarize her main points.
Spot on. And you need those sound bites because you're dealing with a melting pot of people from all walks of life.
Let's define those. A melting pot is a diverse mixture of people, and walks of life means different social backgrounds and professions.
They pair so well together because a collection of people implies they are separate. But a melting pot means they blend into a cohesive community.
Right. And walks of life is more than just different jobs. It's completely different lived experiences.
Exactly. For IELTS, you could say, our volunteer group is a melting pot of people from all walks of life sharing their skills.
And some of those people might be diehard fans, meaning extremely loyal and devoted supporters.
Which is very different from casual fans. Casual fans leave when it starts raining. Diehard fans wait in line early and know every lyric.
Like Taylor Swift fans. The concert was filled with diehard fans. Okay, the last phrase before our quiz is mental clarity. Sharp, focused thinking without confusion.
And we have to contrast this with general intelligence.
Right, because intelligence is permanent. You're always smart.
But mental clarity is temporary. You can be a genius, but if you're tired, you lack mental clarity. You might need a glass of water to get it back.
So a short walk in the morning gives me mental clarity before starting work. If sound bites are the catchy appetizers you feed the media, mental clarity is the quiet recipe preparation required in the kitchen.
That is the perfect analogy.
All right, you listening at home, it is time for this superbly said quiz. I'm going to read the question and the three options, A, B, and C. After I read the options for the idiom, feel free to pause the podcast here if you need to think about the answer.
And then we'll give you the answer right away so you aren't left hanging.
Exactly. Okay, question 1. Which sentence uses the idiomatic phrase brush it off correctly based on context? Option A, the professional dry cleaning technician was instructed to brush it off the dust from the delicate velvet fabric. Option B, the deeply frustrated young retail clerk aggressively managed to completely drop a white line. Or, option C, although my initial design proposal was rejected, I decided to brush it off and focus on developing a stronger version for the next pitch. Feel free to pause the podcast here if you need to think about the answer for brush it off.
The correct answer is option C. Option A is a literal physical action, but C captures that active decision to casually dismiss criticism without letting it affect you, just like the boss email example we discussed.
Perfect. Question 2. Select the context where the phrase dig your heels in is most appropriately used figuratively. Option A, management tried to force the unpopular schedule change, but the employees dug their heels in and refused to comply without a formal negotiation. Option B, the professional mountain climbing guide was instructed to dig your heels in the snow to maintain balance on the steep slope. Or option C, the incredibly clumsy warehouse inventory clerk accidentally managed to quickly buy some large systems. Pause the podcast here if you need a moment for dig your heels in.
And the answer is A. Option B is literal snow climbing. Option A shows that stubborn refusal to change a position, exactly like our example of pushing back on a project timeline.
Right on. Question 3. In which situation does someone accurately utilize the advanced phrase olive branch contextually? Option A, the professional botanical garden curator was instructed to cultivate an olive branch in the Mediterranean flora section. Option B, after our heated disagreement during the quarterly planning meeting, I decided to offer an olive branch by inviting her to grab coffee. Or option C, the completely terrified young wilderness traveler unexpectedly noticed an exceptionally massive, heavy tool chest. Go ahead and pause the podcast here if you need to think about olive branch.
The correct answer is option B. It's that neutral, forward-looking gesture of peace, not an apology, just like inviting a coworker to talk openly.
Question 4. Which response best demonstrates the advanced phrase by complete fluke figuratively? Option A, we only managed to finish the migration before the system crashed by complete fluke, as the server stability was unpredictable all afternoon. Option B, the professional marine biology researcher was instructed to track the rare whale by complete fluke in the deep ocean. Or option C, the incredibly clumsy warehouse inventory clerk accidentally managed to quickly catch that white balance. Feel free to pause here to think about by complete fluke.
The answer is A. A fluke is blind, random luck leading to a result like finding that great cafe or barely beating a random server crash.
Halfway there. Question 5. How would a professional accurately use the phrase mental clarity contextually? Option A, the professional brain imaging specialist was instructed to check for mental clarity in the patient's neurological scan. Option B, the completely confused amateur theater group unexpectedly decided to proudly paint a clean frame. Or option C, taking 20 minutes for meditation every morning provides me with the mental clarity required to navigate our most complex project challenges. Pause the podcast here to consider mental clarity.
It is option C. It's that temporary state of sharp focus, just like taking a short walk in the morning to get ready for work.
Nice. Question 6. Which scenario perfectly illustrates the meaning of the phrase fly under the radar contextually? Option A, the professional military pilot was instructed to fly under the radar to avoid detection by the enemy long-range sensors. Option B, during the initial research phase, I preferred to fly under the radar and work quietly so that I could produce a solid prototype before sharing. Or option C, the incredibly clumsy hotel maintenance worker accidentally managed to completely drop that red tray. Pause here if you need to think about fly under the radar.
The correct answer is option B. It's deliberately keeping a low profile while still functioning, not literally hiding like a military plane.
Question 7. Which sentence accurately utilizes the advanced phrase sound bites contextually? Option A, our PR team prepared several concise sound bites for the CEO to ensure the core message remained clear during the media interview. Option B, the professional dental hygiene specialist was instructed to take sound bites of the patient's teeth for the orthodontic evaluation. Or option C, the deeply confused young kitchen assistant accidentally managed to quickly slice a fresh piece of bite. Feel free to pause the podcast here for sound bites.
Option A is correct. Remember, they are short, catchy quotes designed for impact, not a comprehensive summary.
And the final one. Question 8. Which of the following statements correctly uses pat on the back, figuratively? Option A, the professional sports therapist was instructed to give a literal pat on the back for a massage. Option B, the incredibly clumsy warehouse inventory clerk accidentally managed to completely drop a white line. Or Option C, after the project launch, he got a pat on the back from several team members for a job well done. Pause one last time if you need a second for pat on the back.
And the answer is option C. It's the verbal or emotional validation, totally different from a literal massage or a tangible financial reward.
Awesome job. You got those right at home.
And before we wrap up, I really want you to consider how learning these idioms doesn't just improve your vocabulary, it actually changes how your brain processes workplace stress.
Oh, that's interesting. How so?
Well, for example, simply labeling an awkward office conflict as a chance to offer an olive branch can psychologically shift your mindset. You move from feeling defensive to feeling constructive. The words we use quite literally shape our reality.
Wow, that is such a powerful thought to end on. If you want to put these brand new sound bites and idioms to use, you have to head over to SpeakDuo.com.
Absolutely.
It is the best place to jump on video calls with conversation partners from around the world and truly build your confidence. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we will see you next time.